Peace, HHDG. This is another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. And on this episode, we have our third member interviewed on the podcast, coming out of Philly, Vinny Vindetta. Peace, Vinny Vindetta.
Peace.
Now, the first time I heard of you was around the time I discovered through Ralphie Reese what that Philly sound was coming with.
Okay.
That was probably,
Yes.
let me see. I don't think it was the first Blazylvania track, but I know it was close around that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, around Blazylvania time, we always just trying to make a heavy push, you know what I mean, and really just put the unit on the map and make the name stamped and show that we could, hold competition with the greatest, the best writers that were out there, the best lyricists, and I feel like we did a good job of trying to make sure our swords was sharp as anybody else's.
Definitely. And before we delve into more of your past with a little more depth, and before we even speak on Rhythm and Vinny, tell us a little bit about Vinny Vindetta.
Born in Camden, New Jersey, in a private.
Break it up a little bit.
The Philly was really kind of bouncing all over the city, me time and North was from.
Hmm.
And I lived uptown, so I was spending a lot of time up there. And I went to school out in the Northeast. A lot of my family lived out west side too, so I just kind of bounced all over the city, and that's how I kind of learned Philly. You know what I mean? And Philly made me who I am today.
Right. Dope.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for you,
Yeah.
What came first, emceeing or production?
For me, emceeing was always on my agenda. I was always a writer. I was a poet originally, and I still am a poet. I still have plenty of composition books with just poems in them and stuff like that. So I always just been a writer. I'm more than just a writer of music. Like I write all different types of stuff, movies and short stories, anthologies, erotica, like a bunch of different type of writing. I've delved into all different types of writing forms. So
Right.
I was always a writer, but I always had a love for music as well. Like as a young child, I was a singer, you know what I mean? A lot of people, they start out in the church, and you go into church, they singing and dancing and clapping, and you learn to love music from all of that because you spending so much time around it. And I think that's what kind of happened to me. I fell into my love of music from that, and I was a singer first, and then I was a writer. So I already loved the music, and then I started to love writing, and then once I found poetry, it's only natural that you fall into being an MC if you love music, because they're one and the same.
Definitely. Now that's interesting that you said you're a singer, and I wanted to hold off on speaking on Rhythm and Vinny, but I won't get into too much into it. But so I'm gonna ask, were you more back then of a a tenor, baritone? Where were you at?
Back day when I was a little younger,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of on like the little Michael Jackson high note. I had the soprano, alto
Soprano.
thing going
Okay.
on a little bit. Yeah. And then as I got older, my voice got a little bit deeper. So I kind of fell into that tenor baritone space. I still hit the altos too. If you listen to Rhythm and Vinny, you already know. Like, I still
Yep.
hit the altos too. But then as I got older, I kind of fell into that normal tenor area. Yeah.
That's dope. Now you said Michael Jackson. Was there any other influences when you were back then?
As a child, you know, I was born in '91, so I'm a '90s baby. You know what I mean? A
Mm-hmm.
woo baby. Like, but it was also a lot of soul, and stuff out during that time. And that's the type of music that my mom was listening to. My dad was the one who
Right.
really put me on a lot of hip hop. Um, and my mom listened to a lot of hip hop too, cause she loved hip hop
Okay.
too. But she would always have slow jams on, and so I would get it from both angles. And that's kind of how I fell in love with singing, because I spent majority of my time with my mama. You already know, when I'm that young, and I'm listening to stuff she was listening to back day in high school and shit, like the Keith Sweats and
Mm.
the Jodeci's and shit
Yeah.
like that. My mom would always make the joke that I was made to Jodeci and shit like that. Forever my lady and shit like that. She would always make that joke. And so, I mean, that's where my love for that style comes from. Just that hip hop R&B and that soul. But you know, she would always play oldies and stuff too. That's why I said Michael Jackson, because my mom is a huge Michael Jackson fan. So it was always Michael Jackson, Jackson 5 playing in the house Saturday when we cleaning up, or you know what I mean, all of those types of times. So yeah, I think that's where it really came from. There's a lot of different influences that I have who have influenced how I craft the music now. And most of them are from the '90s, like the early neo soul cats, like the Donnell Joneses and the D'Angelos, and that whole acoustic of what it sounded like then is exactly what I'm trying to do when I'm singing.
So now, being that you mentioned singing, what about Blue Raspberry with the Woo?
Okay, I'm a fan. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely, and that's a lot to unpack. Like, that's a lot to unpack right there. But yeah,
so so
definitely a
so
fan. You know what
yeah. So on that point, when I mentioned Blue Raspberry, just tell us what first came to mind.
I. When you mentioned Blue Raspberry, what first came to mind was just the acoustic of the instrumentals. Because first, once I turned into a producer, my ear for the instrumentals went elsewhere. And then
Mm.
I went back and started re-listening to a lot of the things that I had listened to already, to
Yeah.
try to catch, to see where my producer ear would go with it. So when you said that, the first thing that popped in my head was like, damn, a lot of those acoustics for those instrumentals and the different samples and things was just like out of this world. You know what I mean? Like, I like to do a lot of weird sample digging. We pop up at different vinyl stores all the time. No, that's how we like to do it. We like to keep it as authentic as possible. So
Yeah.
I got a box of vinyl sitting in my room I just got the other day. I told Reese I was gonna give it to him. I haven't had a chance to drop it off on him yet. But yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind when you said that.
So, and briefly speaking on Blues Raspberry, shout out to the HHDG fam, Leif Erickson out of Detroit. He's now affiliated with Blue Raspberry.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, man.
That's fire. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay. You just
Yeah.
dropped some definite knowledge on me.
All right. I'll send you some info on that. Yeah, man.
Most def.
Now, being that you were speaking on what inspired your production, what kind of equipment goes along with that inspiration?
When I first learned how to produce, I was working mainly on Fruity at the time. And then as I started to evolve more as a producer and become more comfortable with as a producer, and I started to use different we like to use the machine, Nature's Native Instruments machine. We like to use that. I actually been looking into them pretty soon. I've been looking at it. I like it a lot. I had went to San and back in if you know who San Vig
Yeah.
is, he did some production on some stuff that I got, and he also did some production for the OG Buddy Lethal. He I was with him in the studio building, and he had I'm not sure which MPC he actually has. It was him that told me, like, yo, just get the one because it's a standalone. So I'm gonna probably end up getting one of them. That's where my next evolution gonna come from. I've been thinking about it for like a month now, so I'm gonna probably just grab one of them.
Now, when it comes to production, what's one of the those soulful singers that you just can't help that you end up playing something and you wanna I gotta sample this track? What's one of those singers? You hear me?
Um, right now, I've been listening to well, I know I'm listening palette as the soul and the R&B and the slow jams go. I always got some Donnell Jones on me. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's got, L. Jones, his music, some child on. I'm a big fan of music. So child, I know like almost all of it. So yeah. Shape, but a baby. I've been listening to it a lot. Like,
You're breaking up a lot. You hearing it? Yeah, it's still breaking up. But while Vinny Vindetta tries to get his audio back, you good?
we back.
There you go. Your video is a little off. We're going to try and get Vinny Vendetta's audio back in sync right now. But while we waiting, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of his discography. One of those was the project called Vintage. And that was with his fellow Dot Unit member, Ralphie Reese. One of my favorite tracks off of that was VIC. I believe that was like the 6th or 7th track. Definitely some heat on there. And that project was fully produced by Ralphie Reese. Another one of my favorite projects from him was called Trust No Man, produced by another fellow Dot Unit member coming out of Canada, Vancouver to be exact, if I remember correctly, called Trust No Man. This project came out in 2017. It had some bangers on there from the titles of Star Wars, Skywalker. What was the other track that was one of my favorites near the end? Planet Express, produced by Crab Skull, probably one of my favorites by Crab Skull on that. Vinny, can you hear me? Yeah, looks like we still have a little difficulties. Vinny, you hear me? Yeah, he's still getting this audio set up. You're on mute. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still a little choppy.
Okay.
Good now?
You hear me now?
Yep, you good now.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, your video's a little off, but
I can hear you now.
your audio is good. All right.
Yeah.
Why you trying to get everything situated? Okay.
Yeah. Let's say yeah, I should be good. So breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So
yeah, while you were trying to get everything situated, I was speaking on two projects that are some of my favorites. And that was Vintage with Ralphie Reese and Trust No Man with Crab Skull.
Pieces. I think Vintage was or possibly the first full-length album I put together. We put a lot of time and energy into that, and me and Reese both for to the way that it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still having a little difficulties with your audio.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit on my mind too.
Yeah, let's see if we can try and get this situated, get this fixed.
And with both of those projects, that everything just came out very, you know what I mean, like actually like just the way I wanted it to. Like it wasn't like it was a set plan. It was just so organic, and it came out sounding so good to me. I just love both of those projects.
Mm. Dope. Now, what was the idea behind the project Voldemort?
Voldemort is the Dark Lord, the enemy of all, the tyrant, the black sheep, the you would say me, you know what I mean? I always felt like a bit of an outcast, an outsider, or like I was different in ways that people couldn't understand, and so that's where I get that connection to that character from. That character is actually a J.K. Rowling character.
Yep.
From the Potter series. If anybody knows the Harry Potter series, that's where that character comes from. He is the main villain in the entire series. And I kind of connected with that. I always read those books as a child. I was always an avid reader. All school, I always read. I still read a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Different stuff on a daily basis, including Supreme. And that was just how I connected with that character. I watched that character develop from book one into the last one. And so I always connected deeply with it because of that. And that I went with the theme for that album. And I think I portrayed it pretty well. I've been shooting some videos. I got some Voldemort depictions in the tuck coming soon. And yeah, man, I just been working a lot. I've been doing a lot of shows, going to a lot of events out here, because mainly, you know, like my biggest support systems is outside of Philadelphia. And I love my city, you know what I mean? Despite what people say about Philly and shit like that, people here really do support one another. They really do show a lot of love to each other, but it's really only shown within people, to us, because it's like we only understand each other. So when you hear and you in that energy, the vibe of it is all positive. And I knew that with us having so much reach in other places, people listening to my music in Japan, the Netherlands, and Germany, and all these random places that I never ever thought people would ever listen to my music from. Let me put that out there, because you know what I mean? Like, I was just doing it because I loved it. I never ever thought that anybody would ever catch on to it and be like, oh, who's this guy? You know, I'm still just a random regular dude, still sitting on a regular back block in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on that same time. So it was all just like, it just humbled me even more, because it was like, I never thought nobody from these places would listen to my music. I understood that I needed to get boots on the ground here at home. And so that's what I did. I've been doing that this year and last year. That's what I've been doing spending a lot of time doing, just trying to get boots on the ground at home. So I've been hitting a lot of events out here normally, like 2 or 3 times a week, just going to different spaces and connecting with people. And yeah, that's been my whole wave recently. I've been pulling out the Dark Lord and taking him on stage and giving the people what they want. You know what I mean?
That's dope, man. Now, when we had Ralphie Reese on recently, he was talking about how long y'all known each other, just not just with the music, but way beyond the music.
Yeah.
Tell us your side of that.
Yeah, like Reese is my guy. He when I moved to Philadelphia, him and his brother was like the second people that me and my brother met. You feel me? Like young. I first moved to Philly. I met 2 brothers that lived on my block. You know what I mean? Shout out to Lino and Bobby. I met 2 brothers that lived on my block when I first moved to Philly. And then the next people I met was Reese and his brother. You feel me? And me and Reese always been super close ever since the day we met. It was just like my mom and his mom, they worked at the same place. And they would always be talking like, we got to get our sons together. It was one of them type Jones.
Got you. Yep.
That's just how we came together. And me and Reese just always click like it. Because, you know, out here, everything is a bid. It's like when you meet people, it's like, all right, I'm going to make fun of this nigga. And if he gets through that, that's like the vetting process. Like, and we both was on that type time. We were always just be bidding on each other. You know what I mean? And that's how we got real close. It was like we both like to dress and shit like that. I'd be like, nigga, you ain't fresh. Like, nah, dog, because I had that joint back then. Like, and I remember when you wasn't even on it. And we would always bid on each other from the time we was young to the time we grew up. You know what I mean? And that's how me and Reese got close. It was way before he ever decided to make music or even was worried about that. We both was just music fans. Like, this back then. This is back when we just love music. We love hip hop. You know what I mean? We both love oldies because of that. When it's like you can't love hip hop without loving the oldies because it come from that. So it's like we love listening to that, and so that's how we connected. You know what I mean? And that's my right hand. You already know that's my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's me and Reese to the day we die. He already know how that go. Like, bro, you know what I mean? It's the same thing from his side to my side. You know what I mean? And we always been like that. My mom and his mom, you know, because they was friends. They was beefing, going through shit. Me and Reese wasn't paying none of that shit no mind. We was like, yeah, bro, where you meet me at today? We gonna go chill with the shorties over on the song. Like, we wasn't paying none of that shit no mind. Me and Reese always been tight, you know what I mean? And then I started rhyming and shit like that before him, and that never really was on his plate. Like, he really just wanted to make beats, you know what I mean? And because of that, he was just like, bro, you the rapper and I'm the DJ, you know what I mean? On some Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince type shit, you know how we holding it down. All Philly always. Matter of fact, when I talk to Reese, I'm gonna tell him we gonna do that. We gonna do that. 2021, you the rapper, I'm the DJ. But yeah, man, like that was always like his wave. He wasn't even worried about rhyming, but we would be like in our cipher, all the MCs they go off top. That's a guarantee. Like, you can't rhyme around us if when we sitting chilling and smoking and we all going off the top and they get to you and you fuck up the flow of the energy and the vibe. Like, nah, you're sure not sharp enough, then you shouldn't be here. And that's how our cipher always carried it. And Reese would be in that cipher, you feel me? So after a while, niggas be like, yo, you can't just keep sitting there and not spitting no rhymes. And he would start rhyming. He would spit his rhymes, you know what I mean? And people was feeling it. I was feeling it. I'm like, bro, you got bars. Like, why you ain't never getting this stew? Like, we be in here playing all these songs and shit like that. Know what I mean? Like, you might as well write some shit. Because he was going off the top with that shit. And he like, nah, man, I can't really go off the top. Like, I really got to write shit down. And I'm like, all right, well, do that then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, write that shit down, and then, you know what I mean, over time, your sword will get sharper, you know what I mean? And your craft, you'll grow into your craft and evolve, you know what I mean? And originally, he wasn't fucking with it. He was like, man, I just be rhyming because y'all niggas be rhyming in the joint. You know how Reese says? He like, fuck out of here, bro. I ain't on that shit. I'm like, man, you got rhyme, bro. I kept pushing him. It was a few years, at least 2 or 3 years. I was pushing him like, nah, you got rhyme, bro. And then this one day he came to me with like,
looks like I got a little connection issue again. So since we're talking about Ralphie Reese and Vinny Vindetta, you can also check the two of them on Supreme Cerebral's 2020 album, Ultimate Mind. You know, got some heat on there. And as always with the Dart Unit family, you can always catch them on their fellow members' projects. Another album that you might want to check is that Coco Reef, Wavy the God album, Surfboard Assassins, that Vinny Vindetta was a guest feature on. I'm trying to hold out on talking about the new Rhythm and Vinny that came out this year on May 7th. As soon as we try and get these little technical difficulties fixed with his connection. If not, we can always go a little bit further on our next meet. But we also speak on some of Vinny's other projects, since we're not going to speak a little too much right now on the Rhythm and Vinny. We can talk about the 2020 project in September with the acronym CELF, also known as Cryptid Elegant Lines from. On that album.
Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, my bad, man. I told you I got that show that I'm about to do in like 20 minutes, and they calling me. They like, where you at? I'm like, y'all gotta wait. I gotta show my family some love. He showed my unit too much support, man. You know what I mean? So I had to tell them they had to push my slot back until like 9 or 10 or something. They just gotta wait, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah,
I respect that.
Reese is my brother. That's what I was getting to. Reese is my brother, you know what I mean? And it's me and him to the end. Like, he already know that shit outside of music. Like, that's my guy, you know what I mean? That's my son goddad. I'm his son's godfather. Like, you know what I mean? We done been through it. We done threw hands. We done scrapped and made it through all of that. You feel me? All of that. That's my guy to the end. Like,
that's serious right there. Yeah, in the time that we were having a little difficulties, I was talking about one of your recent guest features on Ultimate Mind by fellow Dart Unit member Supreme Cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
On that Dart Assassins joint.
Which track was that? Yeah, the Dart Assassins joint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Assassins. Yeah, that joint crazy. Yo, listen, when he first sent me that, I immediately knew why he did. I was like, yo, my whole cadence is like all over this.
Over it.
And it's crazy because like when me and Preem get together, it's like kind of has lays the words next to each other, and I just love that about Preem, yo. And I feel like me and Preem compliment each other so much on a you know what I mean, like a Method Man and Ghostface type of connection.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, man. And since we speaking on that, this is one of my favorite joints that y'all was on. That's that Black Klansman remix with Ill Conscious.
Yeah, man. Listen, I was sitting in the house one day, right? And it was like a fad for like the Black Klansman movie. It was just about the release or whatever. And everybody was talking about it. And it just inspired me. I was like, yo, Black Klansman, like that kind of gave me an idea, like, of what I've been going through with like dealing with like watching these rappers and how they moving and all of that. And I got so inspired that I just wrote, I had wrote the verse immediately that morning. But I was making the beat first. Like I was sitting there just chopping stuff. And I randomly had found that, and I just was like, yo, I gotta, this joint is crazy. I gotta put some drums behind it. And then once I did, it just sounded so smooth together. It was just like, oh no, this is a definite joint. And I immediately wrote the verse, put my verse on it. And as I was writing the verse, I heard Preem and Ill on it. Like I was hearing both of them beside me on the joint. And I was just like, nah, I'm gonna hit both of them and see, I mean, if we can connect, you know what I mean? So I hit Preem. I was like, yo, OG, like, we gotta do this joint. I sent it to him. He was like, all right, that's a joint. We gonna lock up all the details later, you know what I mean? And I'll send it back to you. And then I hit Ill. I think Preem might have actually hit Ill too and told him like, yo, my youngin got this joint, you should hop in there. And I had hit Ill too and built with him personally because me and I think prior to me dropping Black Klansman, me and Ill had met in person. Like I had built with him at a show that him and Jay and Guy Grams and all of them came to that was in New Jersey. You know what? Because I be moving around. Like I be at shows all over like the tri-state. So like they randomly came up from B-More and was at a show in Jersey. And me and my little brother was randomly in that joint. And I just was like, oh, this joint, that's crazy. Y'all in here. And that's how me and Ill built. Actually, he had just dropped is it the Testament album? I think he had just
I think so.
Just dropped the Testament. And I had just dropped Shinigami, the Shinigami LP. And I had merch on me, CDs and tapes and stuff, and we traded off that night so that we could hear each other's music. And that's how I really like got introduced to his cadence and how he really rhyme and brings the sword when he's emceeing. Because prior to that, I had just heard him like around on other joints and was like, yo, he hot. And then he did some joints that night, and I was like, damn, boy, crazy, like. And then we was building after that, and I traded CDs with him and all of that. I still got that joint. We you know how it is. We network and we signing joints, passing them off, and all of that. And that was the first night I met him. And from there, then I thought about it. When I met him, I had told Preem and all of them, and Preem was like, "Yeah, that's my guy. Like, he's the god. Like, I know him. Like, you know what I mean? That's the A. Like we family." And I was like, "Oh, for real? Bet." So once the Black Klansman joint came up, it was just everything coming full circle at that point. Everything going 360 at that point because we had already been building.
That's dope, man. And what I love about stories like that is me as a fan and a supporter of being able to purchase physicals directly from you and to hear you speak of another artist and you having that network and that connection right there, and the two of you actually buying your music off each other. That that's the way it should always be.
Yeah,
I love hearing stories like that.
I want to give a big shout out to the OG Buddy Liesel for that because he teaches me a lot. You know what I mean? I sit down and I build with Buddy on a regular, multiple times a week. Like that's my big brother, and he been doing it for like more than 20 years now, you know what I mean? On all types of levels, underground, commercial, and all of that. And he breaks a lot of stuff down to me, and he tells me a lot of times, like, yo, little bro, like, this the most important joint. This footwork joint right here, all those other ways of networking with people and stuff like that, that's cool. But these genuine organic relationships that you build with somebody when you right in front of them, you know what I mean? That's really what you want to have. And I take that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really use that. I utilize that a lot because I really believe in that I really believed in that when he said it to me. So shout out to him for that, because if he didn't give me that piece of information, I wouldn't have the perception that I do have on that. But since I do, I'm going to utilize it to the fullest. And that's what I do. You know what I mean? I said, I've been here putting boots on the ground, just getting in all these events and talking to people, That's just the whole motto. That's the whole wave. That's the entire vibration at the time. Like,
That's dope, man. Yeah, shout out though. Shout out Buddy Liesel. I mean, because any artist coming into music, not even just hip hop, to have that type of wisdom distilled down to a new or upcoming artist is very vital. And generations after generations, decades after decades, it's still the same problem. And that should be cherished. That there's artists out there like that to give that wisdom. Much respect.
Mm-hmm. Facts. And one thing I want to say also is a lot of artists that came out of Philly, they left Philly. You feel what I mean? Or they felt like they had to leave Philly to really gain the success that they wanted. And that was always our motto, is like, we don't necessarily have to leave to do anything. All we need to do is make sure that we reaching the right people. As long as we reaching the right people, then that's all that matters, because that's where the connection comes from. Us going to places that counts as footwork as well. You know what I mean? Like, you have to reach out and go to these places to gain that organic connection with people. But what I mean is, for us to actually achieve what we're trying to, because success is exactly what you make it. If I set a goal and then I achieve that goal, that is a success. So success is exactly what you make it in a reality. In fact, like, that's exactly what it is. And we always took that and we used it to our advantage. So we set goals, and then we work hard as we can to accomplish and achieve them, just like anybody else that is trying to strive to be the best that they can be would do. Like, that's the same time we on, you know what I mean? And that's why people connect with the music, because you understand that anybody that, you know what I mean, they grind hard, they hustle, they go out here, they work hard and get the things that they have. They feel that in the music. That energy is placed into our music, and then people connect with that. And then that's what we want. That is an organic reach. If you connect directly with what I'm saying in that music, then at some point I would like to build with you in person, because that means me and you are more alike than we know. You know what I mean? So that's my MO on it. And so I'm just out here trying to get boots on the ground in Philly and network with different venues, different artists, you know what I mean? And set up a platform here so that next generation of Philadelphia artists don't feel like they have to leave to achieve the successes that they want to. You know what I mean? They can do it right from home. Just like how somebody from New York would feel. You know, you could be in New York in Times Square, and you could be a rapper or a singer and be walking through Times Square and randomly see somebody that's a celebrity from New York. That whole aesthetic is not necessarily here in Philadelphia. And me personally, I would like to be able to build that over the course of the next generation or two.
Yeah. And part of that is, like you were saying, it's not always the big city, it's who you network with, because you can network with someone from that big city and they can help bring that success to your hometown.
Exactly. It could be 1 million people in the big city, and I can play my music for all of them, and it could connect with not one of those people. You understand? It could be 50 people in this small town, and I can play my music for all of them, and it connects with every single one of them. So every single time I do an event, everybody is buying tickets, everybody is buying merchandise. That's the type of organic connection that you make with people when you're there in front of them, building with them.
Definitely. Yep. And that's what builds the bigger fan base. The true, genuine.
Right. That's the keystones or the fundamental build blocks, like you saying, yeah.
Yeah. Those would be the ones decades from now, still knowing exactly where they got that tape from, what event it was, what show they might have performed at, where you might have met you in the street at. Those are the
Right.
true people that reach out and keep those memories. Not these people that, oh, this is a top hit right now, and then 5 years, a year, maybe even a year later, I don't know what that is, because you weren't truly a fan.
Word up. And that's been happening to me, you know what I mean? Like, I've been frequenting a lot of events, and randomly, like a few blocks from my house, you know what I mean? I was just at the little bodega around the corner, and I'm in there, and the cat, he seen me, and he stopped, and he looked, you know what I mean? And I'm looking, because, you know, we in Philly, shit is grimy, so I'm looking at ball like, what time is ball on, you know what I mean? And he approached me, he was like, "Oh fam, don't we know each other?" And I looked at him, he didn't look familiar to me off the bat, and so I'm like, "I don't think so." And he was like, "Your name Vinny Vindetta, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yo, I'm from such a blog that was at X, Y, and Z show, and I'm the one that sent you all of that footage." And it clicked in my head like, oh, that was you that was standing there that night with the camera. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, what's up? And that's an organic reach right there. It's like, yo,
right,
take my number, let's build. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, and recently, like, I'm just trying to make sure I'm connecting right here with my city. Yeah, I mean, we can do as much as we can for the city. You know, Philly needs a lot of help. There's a lot of gun violence out here. You know what I mean? And people dying, like, it's real bad, man. Like, just living out here and hearing it and seeing it every day, it's like, yo, it gets bad out here. Losing people, you know what I mean? I done lost countless friends from all types of different situations that may not even necessarily have had a gun involved. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it's just a lot. It's a lot. All of that is a lot. And Philly needs a lot of healing. And as I would say, creativity is the highest form of consciousness and the highest form of intelligence. So that's what I've been doing. I just been just trying to stay in my creative chamber. Anytime I'm not within my family chamber, and just do as much as I can to heal the city, because Philly needs a lot of healing right now, man. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, man. And it all starts with that cohesion and the upbringing of the youth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it's a struggle, you know. I understand. I came up the same way, but you know, it's a struggle, and you know, the more people see that right influence, the further down the line it really shows what it was worth. So you know, I respect you. You know, explain on the city, because you know it doesn't matter what city you are. We always gonna have our problems, but it's the people like ourselves that are willing to make sure that our people know what's really worth out there, what we can achieve, how we can be successful, how we can build from each other. You know, I mean, we can go on about that, but you know, I just appreciate hearing that, you know, when I interview someone, explain that, you know, things from their city and how they're trying to make it something positive.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. You already know. You know, I can resonate with that. Like,
now let's get into Rhythm and Vinny. Now
let's unpack some things.
I'm gonna be from my standpoint. When I knew you was coming out with a new album, you know, I was expecting just rhymes. So being in this interview, you already put me on to, you know, the singing background. I didn't know anything about that. So when I finally heard this, I was like, okay, he got some singing on here. I'm vibing to it and everything. And I'm like, okay. I was waiting for, some
Hey, tell
lyrics.
me this.
And the crazy thing is, even though I didn't hear the lyrics, I was still vibing the same way through every single track.
Okay. That is exactly what I wanted. Me and Reese was having a conversation one day. We were sitting down, and he was like, "Bro, like, I know we linked up, and we said we was going to do this Dart Unit shit, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't. I ain't forget you love singing, my nigga. Like, we should do some '90s style hip hop singing shit for you. Like, that's always been your whole wave. Like, I was like, yeah, bro, let's do it. Like, like, I just been having my tunnel vision on making sure we got everything straight over here with the brand. And so
Right.
once he said that to me, it's like, all right, let me put the emceeing on ice for a little bit, because he wasn't the only one that said it. Like, Buddy Lee and Supreme Cerebral,
Mm-hmm.
all of my OGs and all of my peers, all of the A-likes, you know what I mean? They always kind of reaching out to me like, yo, niggas ain't forget you be singing, cuz, like, we need that shit out here. Ain't none of these young boys doing that shit like how you doing it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what? We definitely need that, because hip-hop R&B is kind of taking a little bit of a change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of that, we need to bring some more soul back. We need to bring some more soul back into the hip-hop R&B. And so that was my goal. I was like, yo, I'm not singing on none of them Jones unless drums is hard. You feel me? I want the
Gotcha.
drums
Yep.
to be super hard. I want it to sound like some grimy hip-hop shit that was cut off of hardware. And it was. Matter of fact, all of the beats on Rhythm and Vinny, except for one that I made, was made on hardware and not software. I beats from Distant
Okay.
Star that was made on the 404. I also got beats from my guy Han 11. Shout out to Distant Star and Han 11, and Supreme Cerebral, because he featured on Rhythm and Vinny too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all of those cats, yo. Han also did beats on hardware as well, and everything came out exactly how I wanted it to. It's like, yo, he's singing, but that shit is so hip hop, and that's exactly how I wanted it. Like,
dope, man. Yeah, and when I shared this with one of my college buddies, he said exactly that part. This is that hip hop and soul that I remember listening to coming up. Yep. And when I was listening to it,
whenever you speak with him, tell him I really appreciate that.
Definitely. And when I was listening to it, it kind of reminded me of Lachey from Master Ace's crew when she dropped her first solo album. It had that same vibe.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go back and listen to that. I need to put ears on it. I see stuff like that inspires me. I get it from anywhere. Like, when you see something like that, it's like, all right, now I'm missing one of my own dimensions, because I missed this piece of music. You feel me? Now I gotta go back and listen to that now. Like,
yeah. She was the soul. She was that point where it was perfect in his crew. And I don't think there's Master Ace got the he's in the EMC crew, but for the crew that he was with at that time, she was perfect for it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Vinny Vindetta coming out of Philly. We got more to talk about when you come back on here, especially with that new Dart Unit album that's going to be coming out soon. Ralphie already put the battery in my back. He got me hyped. So.
Listen. Hey, everybody's charged up about the TDU album. And all I'm going to say is, the production was done so that each and every single MC can shine in their own right. It's gonna be crazy, man.
So hype, man. Definitely.
You know what I mean? Oh, and yo, keep in mind, me and Reese is also working on a joint where he doing all the production and I'm singing. And I'm hoping I can get him to cut like a few New Jack Swing joints for me. You know what I mean? Okay. And the project of that is going to be entitled Brown. I might use like little Bobby Brown skits and shit like that out in there. Because I use a theme. So yeah, we got that coming. For those of y'all that don't know, my actual last name is Brown too. That's where the whole idea comes from.
Mm-hmm. Dope, man. Man, you know, I'm great to have you on HHDG Media, the podcast. You know, tell the people where they can support the new Rhythm and Vinny, or your other previous projects, you know, your socials, and the fact that this man still has physicals that you can reach directly to the artist. No middleman, direct.
If you want to get anything direct from me, you go directly to vinnyvindetta.com. That's VINNYVINDEA.com. Also, if you would like to reach out to me on social media, that's also the Vinny Vindetta on Instagram and Vendetta on Facebook. All the social medias I really deal with because I don't really get into the internet like that. I like to build in person. So other than that, that's where you can find me. You can find music on all streaming platforms. Vinny Vindetta. Rhythm and Vinny is live on all streaming platforms. Y'all can go listen to that. Please, I hope y'all really enjoy it. And I got a lot of music coming really soon. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I got a whole project with Chuck Chan. It's been done since the beginning of the year, but I haven't released it yet. I just got it in the tuck. So if you want to hear some rhyming, it's coming real soon. The unit been making a lot of moves, and I was focused on singing, so I just had that joint in the tuck. But as soon as we get everything lined up, and I know where everybody's going to be, that joint for you. So yeah, I'll send you some of them joints so you can hear it, and I got a video coming for that soon too.
Cool. And on behalf of HHDG Media,
yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, you already know. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate to my entire unit. You know what I mean? Shout out to each and every artist that I know and that I network and build with. Shout out to your platform that you have. Nothing but more peace, prosperity for you and anybody that's a part of your tree, man. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate your energy exchange, man. Peace.
Thank you, man. Peace.